fellow gardeners. Let's talk about the miracle transformation that happens when kitchen scraps and yard waste become the rich, dark treasure we call compost. If you've ever wondered how to speed up this natural process without breaking your back or your budget, you're in the right place. Today, I'm sharing the tried-and-true methods that have helped countless gardeners in our Soil Sage Chronicles community turn their organic waste into garden gold in record time. Understanding what makes compost tick is your first step toward composting success. Composting is essentially controlled decomposition, where beneficial microorganisms break down organic matter in the presence of oxygen. These tiny workers need 4 key ingredients to thrive: carbon-rich browns, nitrogen-rich greens, adequate moisture, and proper aeration. The magic happens when you maintain the right balance of these elements. Think of it as feeding a living system, rather than just throwing scraps in a pile. When conditions are optimal, thermophilic bacteria kick into high gear, generating temperatures between 130 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit that not only accelerate decomposition, but also kill harmful pathogens and weed seeds. The secret to fast composting lies in creating an environment where these microorganisms can work at peak efficiency. This means chopping materials into smaller pieces, maintaining proper ratios, and ensuring adequate airflow throughout your pile. Choose a location that receives partial sunlight and has good drainage. While shade won't kill your compost, some warmth helps maintain those beneficial high temperatures. You'll want easy access to water and enough space to turn your pile comfortably. For container composting, invest in a tumbler or build a simple 3-bin system using pallets or wire fencing. Tumblers excel at fast composting because they make turning effortless and maintain better aeration. If you're building your own system, ensure adequate ventilation by drilling holes or leaving gaps between boards. Size matters when it comes to compost piles. Your pile should be at least 3 feet wide, 3 feet deep, and 3 feet high to generate and retain the heat necessary for rapid decomposition. Smaller piles work, but they won't heat up as effectively, slowing the process considerably. Getting your carbon-to-nitrogen ratio right is crucial for fast composting. Aim for roughly 30 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen, though don't stress about exact measurements. Your browns include dried leaves, straw, paper, cardboard, and woody materials. Greens encompass kitchen scraps, fresh grass clippings, coffee grounds, and fresh plant trimmings. A helpful rule of thumb: if it was once alive and is wet, slimy, or green, it's probably nitrogen-rich. If it's dry, brown, or woody, it's likely carbon-rich. Coffee filters and tea bags count as browns, while the grounds and leaves inside are greens. Start each compost session by laying down a base of coarse browns like small twigs or straw to promote airflow at the bottom. Then, alternate layers of browns and greens, with each brown layer being roughly twice as thick as your green layers. This layering approach, often called lasagna composting, creates natural air pockets while maintaining proper ratios. Size reduction is your fastest route to finish compost. Chop kitchen scraps into pieces no larger than 2 inches. Shred or run over leaves with a lawnmower before adding them. Break branches into smaller pieces or run them through a chipper if available. Pre-composting your materials can jumpstart the process. Let grass clippings sit for a day or two before adding them to prevent matting. Collect autumn leaves in bins or bags with holes punched in them, allowing them to partially decompose over winter. Consider cooking your greens by letting them heat up slightly in a separate container before adding to your main pile. This preheating introduces active microorganisms and can shave weeks off your composting time. Hot composting, also known as the Berkeley method, can produce finished compost in as little as 18 days with proper execution. This intensive method requires building your entire pile at once using the correct ratios and turning it frequently. Start by gathering enough materials to build a complete pile measuring at least 3 cubic feet. Mix your browns and greens thoroughly, aiming for that 30:1 ratio. Add water as you build, aiming for the moisture content of a wrung-out sponge. The pile should feel damp but not soggy. Within 24-48 hours, your pile should heat up significantly. Use a compost thermometer to monitor temperatures, turning the pile when it reaches 160 degrees Fahrenheit or begins to cool. During the first 2 weeks, you might turn the pile every 2 to 3 days. Each turning redistributes materials, adds oxygen, and maintains high temperatures. After 2 weeks of regular turning, the pile will begin to cool naturally, as easily decomposable materials are consumed. Continue turning weekly until the temperature stabilizes near ambient levels and the compost resembles rich, dark soil. Moisture management can make or break your composting efforts. Too little water slows decomposition, while too much creates anaerobic conditions that produce unpleasant odors and slow the process. Your compost should feel like a damp sponge when squeezed, releasing just a few drops of water. During dry periods, water your pile lightly while turning. In wet weather, add more browns to absorb excess moisture. A simple squeeze test tells you everything. Grab a handful of compost and squeeze. If water streams out, it's too wet. If no moisture appears and the material crumbles, it's too dry. Aeration prevents anaerobic decomposition and maintains the oxygen levels your beneficial microbes need. Beyond regular turning, you can improve airflow by mixing in coarse materials like small twigs, corn stalks, or even crumpled newspaper. Some composters insert perforated PVC pipes vertically into their piles to create permanent air channels. When your pile smells like ammonia, you have too much nitrogen. Add more browns and turn the pile to incorporate oxygen. If it smells like rotting eggs or sewage, anaerobic conditions have developed. Turn the pile immediately and add browns to improve structure and absorb excess moisture. Piles that won't heat up usually lack nitrogen, moisture, or sufficient size. Add fresh grass clippings, kitchen scraps, or other greens. Check moisture levels and water if necessary. Consider combining small piles to reach that critical mass needed for heat generation. Pest problems often indicate poor pile management. Fruit flies suggest too much exposed fruit waste. Bury it deeper in the pile. Rodents are attracted to meat, dairy, or oils that shouldn't be in compost anyway. Proper turning and temperature maintenance discourage most unwanted visitors. Several natural additives can speed up your composting process. A shovelful of finished compost or rich garden soil introduces beneficial microorganisms to jumpstart decomposition. Compost activators containing concentrated microbes can serve the same purpose, though they are not essential if you're following proper techniques. Chopped fresh comfrey leaves act as a natural accelerator due to their high nitrogen content and beneficial enzymes. Similarly, nettle leaves provide nitrogen and trace minerals that enhance microbial activity. If you have access to these plants, chop them fresh and mix into your pile. Some gardeners swear by adding a cup of beer or a handful of sugar to feed the microorganisms, though this isn't necessary with proper carbon-nitrogen ratios. What matters most is consistent attention to the fundamentals: proper ratios, adequate moisture, regular turning, and appropriate pile size. Finished compost should be dark brown to black, crumbly, and smell earthy rather than sour or putrid. Individual materials should be unrecognizable, though small pieces of woody stems are normal and beneficial. The temperature should match ambient air temperature, indicating biological activity has stabilized. Screen your compost through hardware cloth or a specialized compost screen to remove any unfinished pieces. These larger pieces make excellent starter material for your next batch. What passes through the screen is ready to enrich your garden beds, containers, and lawn. Apply finished compost liberally around plants as mulch, work it into planting beds before seeding, or mix it with potting soil for container gardens. Unlike synthetic fertilizers, you can't over-apply compost. It improves soil structure, provides slow-release nutrients, and enhances your soil's ability to retain moisture while improving drainage. Fast composting isn't just about speed, it's about understanding and working with natural processes to create something valuable from what might otherwise be waste. Every banana peel, coffee ground, and fallen leaf represents potential fertility for your garden. When you master these techniques, you'll join countless gardeners who have discovered that making compost is one of the most rewarding aspects of gardening. Remember, every compost pile is different, and you'll develop your own rhythm and techniques as you gain experience. Don't be discouraged if your first attempts take longer than expected. Even slow compost eventually becomes garden gold, and the knowledge you gain from each batch makes you a better composter. The satisfaction of creating rich, dark compost from kitchen scraps and yard waste never gets old. You're not just reducing waste, you're participating in the natural cycle that has sustained plant life for millions of years. Your plants will thank you with vigorous growth, and your soil will become more alive with each application. Ready to start your fast composting journey? Subscribe to Soil Sage Chronicles for more in-depth gardening wisdom, and don't forget to share this article with fellow gardeners who could benefit from turning their organic waste into black gold. Together, we're building a community of gardeners who understand that great gardens start with great soil, and great soil starts with great compost.